All right, so today we have Dr. Nashlie Sephus with us. She is, child, this resume is ridiculous, okay? Welcome to the podcast. Let me start over. Today we have with us Dr. Nashlie Sephus, who is a tech evangelist and plant whisperer. More on that later. Currently, she's an applied science manager for the Amazon and Artificial Intelligence Initiative, which focuses on fairness and identifying biases in technology. Her PhD is from the School of Electrical and Computer Engineering at the Georgia Institute of Technology, and she has had numerous jobs. Kyla's laughing
Right.
because this list is um very long, very distinguished, and I'm gonna start some of it right now. IBM, Delphi, the University of California at Berkeley, GE Research Center, GE Energy, Miller Transporters, a university in Seoul, South Korea. Y'all, she's been there, done that, all of the things. We're gonna talk about a couple of those things. But the most important, I think, for us to mention right now is that she is the founder and CEO of the Bean Path, which is a nonprofit organization based in Jackson, Mississippi, that works on assisting individuals with technical expertise and guidance to help fill the tech gap in her community. So, Nashlie, welcome.
Hello, hello.
Hi. I just, I am trying to breathe and overcome what I just read. One of the things I didn't mention, one of the many things I didn't mention, is that she has a bachelor's of science degree from computer engineering from Mississippi State University, and she's a native of Jackson, Mississippi.
Whoop, whoop.
Yep.
Okay. So, native of Jackson, Mississippi. My father is from there. And I
Indeed.
told you we have like a
Y'all
connection.
cousins.
We
I'm sure.
when we talk to Amber Johnson, I'm pretty sure we're related because Johnson Simon Dinkins is like my family name, so it's quite possible we're like not play cousins. We're real cousins.
Yes.
But naturally, we probably family.
Yes.
What was it like growing up in Jackson, Mississippi? I kind of have some insight, but
Right. Did you envision all of this for you?
No, no, absolutely not. I just want to say, y'all, I've been trying to get on this podcast for like 10 years.
she said this
Don't
earlier,
do
and I was
us.
10
Don't
years.
do us.
And so I'm so happy that I made the cut.
like, made the cut,
I
Listen,
child.
thought I was
ma'am,
too
you are
old.
the cut. Like
I thought
you
I was too
Yeah.
old.
literally like
But look, I'm so happy to be here. Y'all, I highly esteem these ladies and what they're doing. Those of you all out there listening.
Oh,
I hope y'all really, um, take a close look at what they're doing. It's changing the game. We were just talking earlier about how I wish I had this coming up,
mhm.
going through all the stuff, all the
All
things
that list.
that
right.
all of us, yes, every opportunity comes with some challenges.
Mm-hmm.
At least mine. Now, maybe y'all got some
Yep.
out there that haven't, but let me know. But no, I just really appreciate being here. Did I imagine all this? No. Like I always say, I just do what I'm supposed to do,
Mm-hmm.
and I try to do my best. And somehow that ends up putting me in these other places that propel me along, and that leads to something else, and leads to something else, and I just try to put one foot in front of the other. Um, so growing up in Jackson, Mississippi,
What
oh
part?
man,
What part of Jackson are you from?
I am from this area called Shady Oaks,
Okay.
and they say nothing good comes from Shady Oaks. If you listen to Dr. Amber Johnson's podcast, she's also from Jackson, Mississippi, the area called Georgetown, which is they're like neck and neck,
Mm.
and so they actually meet at this place called Freedom Corner, where Martin Luther King Drive and Mega Everest Boulevard meets.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's where I grew up in Jackson.
It's kind of serendipitous that the two of you are connected and
Yes.
the two of them
Isn't
are
it though?
connected.
Yes.
Mm,
It so much is. Oh my God.
Like,
that's
I
deep.
saw a picture, we have to find it, like, when you all did, I forget what conference it was, but the 2 of you did a speech together, and there was a picture where was it your birthday, and Amber was there, or the vice versa, and, like, they're babies, like, little people.
Yes. So, yes, Amber has that picture floating around somewhere. I do not
She
have
said,
it.
"I did not
Still don't know
raise
where
that
it
from the
is.
dead and put it
She
out
did
there for
not
people
give
to
it to
see."
me.
Yeah. Mhm.
But yes, apparently, that was her birthday
Okay, it
party.
was her
One
birthday.
year, I
Oh,
think. I was there. I think my little sister was there. So both our moms worked at the post office.
wow.
So that whole post office kids out there, y'all know what I'm talking about. Like we know how to look at a letter and know whether you should open it or not. Like at the age of 5,
Mm.
yes,
Wow.
post office kids know about that. And so it's a very close knit community. Those people, they work together, they live their lives, they're very close. Uh, I know a lot of her family knows a lot of my family, vice versa. So
So
very
y'all play
excited to
cousins
be.
then.
We play, yeah, pretty much. So,
So that means we're cousins too,
Mhm.
because
oh yeah,
cousins with
we
Amber,
are.
then you for real my play cousin. That's
There
how it
you
works
go.
in our community.
Is it
It
transitive?
is.
Yeah, in the community, correct.
In the
In our
community. Yeah,
community,
that's
correct.
how it works.
So, like,
That's
when
how it works.
when you were in elementary school, like, did you have, like, a strong science background or math? Or, like, were you thinking that, you were gonna do something that was, like, technical?
I have the answer to this. Yes.
Oh, really?
Because
Yeah, no.
there's a
Go ahead.
there's
Go
a
ahead.
whole TED Talk
Oh, that's
where this is
right.
discussed, and, for those of you who wanna see her and see all of her fabulousness, because right now she's chilling, right? Like,
Right.
this is a chill
So
podcast.
modest.
We at home talking, but see her on that stage in that TED Talk. Just look up her name, it's there.
We will put the
Mhm.
link in the episode thing, so if you go to the website, we'll
Yeah,
put the link on the episode.
yeah,
Yeah,
'cause yeah.
thank you for mentioning that. I talk a lot about my upbringing, and I grew up in a home full of women. So my mom, my grandmother, my sister, and then it was grandma's house. So you always had cousins in and out,
Mhm.
and so we pretty much did everything. I talk about how we mowed the yard, like we put the Christmas lights up on the roof. Nashlie, can you help me hang the ceiling fan? And I joke, I got electrocuted one time, only once. And from that point on, I knew, okay, turn that breaker off.
Yeah. It
Okay,
only
there's
takes
no
one time,
shortcuts.
yeah.
And I knew, okay, I'm learning how things work. And before you know it, you start to get pretty handy. I'm definitely a DIYer at heart. I've done everything from put down hardwood floors to
Hardwood?
Wow.
Okay.
yes, install whatever type of. I probably shouldn't be installing this, but I have installed electrical sockets, units, all types of stuff. And I think early on, it just really taught me, even as women, I didn't know anything. I didn't know anything about gender roles until I
Mhm.
got into the world and I graduated. But in that house, like, yeah, we did everything, and that kind of led me to my interest in science and engineering and how things work, and I was empowered to figure it out. And
Mhm.
as engineers, like as scientists, we solve problems, and so I was doing it at a very early age.
That's so cool. I know, like, you'd mentioned, like, your mom bringing home a computer and how much that really influenced you early on. Were the rest of your family as intrigued by the technology that entered the space?
Uh, so I know my sister liked playing the games, right? And so, but it was more than just the games. Like back then it was a 3.5-inch floppy disk and
Mhm.
the dial up, and we were trying to download stuff, and then grandma had to use the phone, and so we
Yeah,
had to get off and like had to start
yeah.
all over. Like, come on, girl, can you give me like 10 more minutes? And of course, the download takes it never takes whatever time it says.
Right.
No. No, no, no.
It's gonna take like 3 times as much. And so that was the age of computing that I came up in. But people just ended up relying on me to help them with the computer. So I was just trying to do my homework. Then it went beyond the games, you know. Then it went, oh, there's internet. There's another world out there. Oh, there's I can create birthday cards. I
Yeah.
can you know, make banners for people's baby showers, you know,
Yeah.
and I can get paid for it. And it started. I started exploring so much more than what was just there in front of me, and people looked to me to kind of be the expert for that sort of thing. This I was what, middle school at the time, I think,
Oh, wow.
and so yeah, and it was like,
Young
you know,
entrepreneur.
Yeah.
exactly, exactly. So and it's interesting because, again, like I always say, like technology, you know, at that time that was big, you know, that was crazy. Like, oh, you're printing banners, like that was fancy, you know. It's
Mhm.
like nobody
Mhm.
does that now. But I think that it really shows how technology plugged into our everyday lives, and it wasn't this intimidating, unattainable thing. I tried to bring it down to our level. Yeah, we were going to birthday parties and baby showers and doing homework. You know, how can technology help me do the things I'm already doing today? And I kind of love how, you know, even today with technology, like you think about it like that, yeah, it's a tool. It can be used for harm, but it can be used for a lot of good as well.
Mhm. Mhm.
That's so true. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So I have a similar story with you. Like literally brought home the computer. I am now with the computer. So
Yes, you are
yes.
one with the computer.
So I bet you're like that person that all your aunts and uncles or whoever calls to say, "Hey, my printer is not printing, my computer is
Uh,
not puting. What do I need to do?" So I
Hmm.
definitely, identify with you on that one. So in that same vein, so in middle school, you were the computer person. So I know sometimes in high school, there's like specialized programs where you can go into like a tech or science related area. Did you have any of those kinds of influences?
Yeah, I think in middle school that was you know, I always just say that my mom, you know, she's a single parent, you know, with my grandmother, of course, but she raised us, my sister and I, and sometimes my cousins were there. You know, she was raising them, and so we could not be at home during the summer because if you're at home by yourself, she's at work or whatever. You know, that leads to no good. And so we were in everything, like every little summer program, every little camp, summer reading at the library. Like she kept us busy, and I'm so thankful for it because you know I have so many people around me who, you know, easily got into other things that, you know, led them down a different path. And so you know, I come from a neighborhood where, you know, you had a lot of people doing other things like, you know, getting into, you know, a lot of trouble. And
mhm.
so I was grateful to have a lot of things to do. And so one of those things was summer science camps and engineering camps. Actually, a lot of them were at Jackson State University, the HBCU in Jackson, Mississippi. And I remember attending those. I wanted to attend those because we got a free graphing calculator. And so the graphic, it was like that's where you
Yeah.
go to get the free graphic calculator. So now you got the calculator, and you could take that and use that, you know, throughout the school year. You could program it and
Mhm.
all these things.
TI
And so
84 or 83? Right.
yes, yes, yes. And so, and I knew my mom wasn't going to buy one of those, so I had to go to this camp to get them.
Right.
They were
And
not
so,
cheap, and they still are not cheap.
oh no, oh no, oh no, not at all. And so, and that's a whole nother. We can come back to that, but you know, just having access to tools and
Mhm.
things that, you know, help you be more successful in STEM.
Mhm.
Like that was essential for me to really gain that momentum that I needed and that confidence by going to those summer programs. And so I remember my eighth grade teacher sent me to a camp, which was actually at Mississippi State. And so now this time I get to go away from home for like 2 weeks.
Mhm.
I'm like, oh shoot, sign me up. You know, I can't wait. You know, I'm trying to get out and be out here in the eighth grade. You know what I'm saying?
Agree.
So
Girl, I
and
did the
so
same thing. Please
and
continue.
I was so happy, you know, when I got there, and it was a camp for girls.
Mhm.
So you had to worry about, even though there was college guys, you know, we take a peek, you know, we see what's going on the other side of the dorm,
Right,
you
of
know what I'm
course, of
saying?
course.
But but it was, you know, we were right there, learning about all the different types of engineering. That was really the first time I really understood what it was.
Mhm.
Even though we had used the term, you know, I was thinking is this like somebody that works on a railroad train? Like I heard the,
Right.
the engineer, the conductor, but I really understood. Oh, there's biomedical. Oh, there's computer. Oh, there's civil. There's like 8 different types of engineering. Like what? Like I never knew. It's like, and so I remember the computer engineering in particular is what really steered me towards, my passion, because I was like, you mean all I gotta do is type in these letters and numbers in this computer, and I can control this thing over here or that thing over there. And I was like,
Right,
I can take over the
right.
world.
I same, same.
That's where that comes from. That's how
That's
y'all ended
where
up computer
Yes, because
engineers?
we wanna take over the world. It's like, I wrote something over here and something happened over there. Okay.
that's it. That's it. And I'm
Okay.
like, this is where I need to be right here. And so from that point on, I told everybody, I'm gonna be a computer engineer. That's what I want to be. And so and it kind of moved, throughout, getting involved in other programs at school. There was like a math club, and I was into music a lot too. So I played in concert band, marching
What
band.
instrument?
Um, I played the piano. I played the cymbals, percussion,
Okay.
auxiliary, like all kinds of stuff. And so a jazz band. I also played for my church. So I was really into music. I actually won a lot of competitions that gave me like scholarships for
Oh,
music. And so I
wow.
Fancy.
was gonna major in I thought about majoring in music, and I have an uncle still to this day. He went to Indiana, like one of the top music schools. He's like, you should have majored in music. I'm like, oh, like I did good. Like I'm all right. Can you let it slide?
That's
Right.
Um,
hilarious. That's
but yeah,
hilarious.
I think I made a good decision by going into computer
Oh,
engineering.
yeah, I
So
think
I
so.
think you
I
did.
think it's working
Definitely,
out.
definitely.
Maybe.
All right, we
Alright,
gotta
let's
do our
stop
break.
right here. Yeah.
Three.
Okay, so you knew for sure you were gonna be a computer engineer, and I mean, you actually ended up doing that. That's really uncommon. So, I really wanna know, like, how things went for you. I mean, aside from being great at everything, it sounds like, in high school and being, like, the nerd, but, like, the cool nerd, as I heard you put it. I
that's
know.
how. Yeah, that's
I
see we.
yeah,
Yeah.
I was the I like to think of myself that way too. I don't know about Kyla. Kyla
I
wasn't
know I'm a
really
nerd, so
no,
I don't have to be
but you weren't thinking you were one when you were in high school because you were talking about how,
yeah.
like, you were anti-school.
Yeah, I was anti everything, but
You were
Oh,
anti-school.
I was an oh my yes.
yes, anti-school.
Yeah, I'm like,
Yes.
"The information's in a book. We can just read this
Look at her
and
face.
convene later."
Y'all can't see her face, but
She
it looked very annoyed.
she would have been a perfect student during the pandemic.
Oh
She's
my
like,
god,
look, we don't have to meet up for this.
we really
Yeah,
don't.
We
This
just
whole
give me the
yeah,
class
book.
could have been an email saying, "Read this book."
The
not an
whole
email.
class.
Anyways, let's go back to Nashlie.
Yes.
Cool nerd life.
Yes,
How
yes.
was that in high school?
I like to think that I was pretty cool with everybody. Even though I
Mhm.
was kind of I was sort of at the top. I graduated top three. I was
Oh,
third in my class,
Wow.
but it was pretty interesting because I was a band nerd. And then I also was into like the math club type stuff. And I played tennis. I
oh.
played, so I was into sports, and I
See,
tried basketball.
I said all the things. Here we go. What she tried
Well,
basketball.
I tried basketball. I couldn't quite get that pick and
Okay.
roll down,
Mhm.
so I didn't quite make the team.
Mm.
But, I still my mom said, "Well, maybe you should try some sports, just you're more on your own, like singles, tennis. Maybe you're not built for team sports."
Oh,
Wow,
mom.
mom.
She put me on that path, and I was pretty good. I actually won city, and so again,
Pretty
Okay.
good.
I actually
One
won for the whole
city.
city,
Okay.
just nothing big.
I was I was like I was pretty, I was one of those folks. I think at 11th or 12th grade year, I was like going to meet up with a coach at like 5 a.m. to practice
Oh,
tennis,
wow. You were
like before
dedicated.
before school, and again, it's just I think my mom knew this, or my family knew this, but I needed to be able to focus on something so that I can work at it, just to stay, out of trouble, to keep my mind occupied. So
Mhm.
I think that, they say an idle mind is a devil's workshop. I
Yeah.
so believe that. It's so true for me.
Mhm.
I just need things to apply myself to. I think so many times that we have young people that they don't have something to apply their minds to. So they're going to
Mhm.
apply to whatever comes, and
Yep.
sometimes it's not the best thing. And so
Right.
I was just grateful that I had people in my life to kind of point me in the right direction. Um,
That's
but
such
yeah,
a blessing.
oh
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I say I'm definitely I did not get here on my own.
Mhm.
I had so many people that helped me along the way. I'm not one of those people like self-made this,
Right.
self-made that. No, no. And I don't believe anybody is self-made. Somebody had to birth you.
Right.
Right.
So yeah, that's how I kind of feel like I was kind of like the cool nurse. I did a lot. I was in a lot of
Yeah.
spaces, and so I met a lot of people, even across school districts. And so like even people today, I'm like trying to remember where I know you from.
Mhm.
You didn't
Mhm.
go to my high school, but I knew you from this camp or this program, because we did so much growing up. So
That's so cool.
yeah.
So one of the connection points is that my dad went to your high school.
Oh
And
snap!
so yeah,
Mustangs, go run Mustangs.
he's a Mustang, and it's just so weird, like, the world is so small.
It
It is
really is.
It's so small, but that's, like,
extremely.
really amazing that, like and just knowing, like, that community and, like, where you come from,
Mhm, mhm.
you're uncommon.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I was actually having a conversation last night with someone, and it sometimes you think like I'm not supposed to be where I am. Like it's if you think about the statistics,
Statistics.
statistics will say no way this will happen,
Right.
right?
Right.
But I'm a faithful person. I think they say the steps of a good man are ordered, or a good
Mhm.
woman. And so I just again take one step from the other, and I believe that what I'm doing is what I'm supposed to be doing, and that
Mhm.
one day this will lead to some impact that will influence a whole generation, even after I'm gone. And so that's
You're
kind of what I'm
already
doing.
doing that, so
Yes, already. And we're gonna get into that in a second. So you were the cool nerd. Were you a cool nerd in college? How did that work out, you know?
I was a struggling student. There's no cool in college. There was no cool. I think the only cool like I got, the only thing I felt was cool was I'm a Delta Sigma Theta. I think the convention is going on right now, so shout out to all the Deltas out there. I think for me, because I went to Mississippi State, which was had a great experience there. I was always want to take advantage of every opportunity, like whether it's studying abroad. You mentioned Seoul, South Korea. Had the opportunity to study in France, interning at different places, working here, doing summer research programs here and there. Berkeley. I think I was the first person ever from Mississippi to like do that particular program, and so I just think it was. Everything was kind of meant to be, and I just took advantage of it. And so I ended up, of course, being an engineer. We know it's not a lot of black people, not a lot of women. I needed a sense of community at the PWI that I was at, predominantly white institution. And so I ended up going Greek with Deltas, because that gave me that sense of community that I probably if I were at a HBCU, I often say I probably would not have even done that. because I probably would
Mhm.
have had that experience, that nurturing, that feeling.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But that's what that was for me. And so I feel like that kind of gave me enough cool to be the cool nerd. But yeah, it was. I would often like leave parties going straight to the lab
Oh, wow.
because my
To
my
the lab,
my
okay.
sorors and labs and line sisters were they were not an engineering, of course, so
Mhm.
they could hang out on the yard, as they say, do all these
Mhm.
things. So I was like working, my butt off trying to participate, be a part of everything, as well as keep my grades up. Because I was on scholarship. That's
Mhm.
either you do or you die. And
Right.
Yeah.
so there was no playing around with that. And so yeah, back go to the party, leave the party, go to the lab because I got a test the next morning. I got to turn in this lab. That's what I was doing.
Why did you choose Mississippi State?
Yeah.
So it's funny because I actually I really wanted to go to Georgia Tech for undergrad,
Mhm.
but I was in Mississippi and there was an out of state fee, so I got accepted, but I
Yeah.
didn't get the funding that I needed,
Mhm.
and so it was also Jackson State. So Jackson State's program was not accredited at the time,
Mm.
their computer engineering program, and then there was Tulane. I applied to. They were not accredited. I love New Orleans. It's like one of my favorite cities, and so they were not accredited at the time either. And so Mississippi State reached out and I ended up getting a full ride
Oh,
there.
wow.
And so I was like, okay, well, I guess my mom was like, yeah, that's where you going.
Right.
Right. That's where you going. There's no question. And so I went there, and again, I had that previous experience
Yeah.
in eighth grade. So I think that you don't really think about it, but I think sowing those seeds. It
Mhm.
really it
Absolutely.
really helps, like kids at a very young age, bring them to this college or that college. It really sticks with them, and so that's why I was like, if I had not done that opportunity, I probably would never have even considered Mississippi State. But because of that, and it was actually the top engineering program in the state, and for me to get a full ride, that's where I ended up going.
That's amazing.
So I see why you were dashing from party to lab, back to party, back to lab, and like, look, I cannot play with this. So,
Yeah, no, I know my priorities. I that's definitely one thing about me. I do what I'm supposed to do when I'm supposed to do it. So yeah.
so most people that like major in computer engineering or computer science tech fields, they tend to think, okay, right after school, I'm gonna go get a job. I'm gonna pay off. You don't have any loans, but I'm gonna get into the workforce. So
Imma
what?
make this money is what they
Right, the
saying.
money. So what made you say, you know what? I want to go to grad school.
So it was the summer bridge program that I did. So that if y'all not familiar with summer bridge programs, it's basically
Nashlie,
uh,
are we the same person?
listen, no, we all are.
All of us are the same
We
person.
all are the same people because, and that's the uniqueness of what you all have created here. Like, I don't know if y'all understand the impact that you've had with
I'm
the
about to
Conversation
study this. I'm about
podcast.
to find out what's going on for real. This
That's a research
requires
Y'all,
program.
further
y'all
The
have
impact of
investigation.
Summer Bridge program.
y'all have created a space for people like us, whereas
Yeah,
before we thought nobody out there existed that was
right.
like us.
It's
So kudos to you.
No,
Maryland,
but thank you for being part of this and
Mississippi,
adding to
Florida,
this.
like, we all did it.
Right.
It's the
They
same
all got
thing.
us. They
It's the
whoever
same
needs
Copy,
story.
paste.
right, copy paste, they all
And they
got us.
wonder, like, how do you create more of you all? Like, just listen to the
Here you go.
podcast.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yes. So yes, Summer Bridge was huge for me. It allowed me to, gain a sense of community. I met a lot of people. I kind of got introduced to the campus early on.
Mhm.
I am a big, advocate for self care. I have anxiety, and so if I
Who
would have
does not
not done
in
Summer Bridge,
2021? Who does not?
yeah, no, that's real. If I would have not done Summer Bridge, kind of like that pre-introduction to everything,
Mhm.
there's no telling where I would be. I may have even dropped out. I don't know. Something would have happened, but it made a really smooth transition for
Mhm.
me. Because again, like I'm coming from Jackson, Mississippi, which is pretty much all black
All black.
everything,
All black.
going to a predominantly white institution, and
Mhm.
yeah, Summer Ridge was cool, but when I got in my classes, I was the only one.
Right.
Right.
I told you I graduated third in my class, and I still felt behind in my very first coding class.
Oh,
And I'm
yes.
like, I thought this was where we supposed to learn how to code.
Right, like, this is the intro, like, why do
Y'all
you
already
already
know.
know everything? Like, what?
So yeah, it was Summer Bridge definitely. So I remember one of the programs in the Summer Bridge program. So it's like you spend like a whole month or so before the fall semester actually starts on campus taking a course, right? And they have different programs, different speakers coming in and out to try to expose you to as much as possible to get you prepped and ready for the fall semester as a freshman. And so, and these programs exist, all over the country. And so I wanted to make sure that, I was taking advantage of everything. This is the type of person I am. They brought in someone one time who talked about grad school. And granted, I was not thinking about grad school before this. I'm like, you go to school, you get a job, you work, make your money, have a
Mhm.
family. That's what we were taught. I
That's
didn't know
yep.
anything about
Yeah.
entrepreneurship, grad school, starting your own this, buying property, whatever. Like nobody told me about that. And so, but this lady comes in, she starts talking about grad school, and then she kind of got me thinking. I'm like, that don't sound too bad. It's like that sound pretty.
Wait, in hindsight, did she tell you the truth?
No, she don't. She
Right,
spared the details, the nasty
Ah, I
details.
see, I
okay.
see.
But and again, all this was kind of naively. Remember, I was supposed to major in music, right? So I was, I kind of like went into computer engineering because it was cool. Nobody told me all the you're gonna have to be in the lab overnight, or you
Right.
and the pizza man will get to know each other because y'all order pizza at the lab. It's like this is my life, So
Oh, man.
they spared all of the. I'm actually kind of glad people did not tell me all that because I probably would have been like, nah,
Mm.
fam, that's not for
Right.
me. That don't sound good, and I'm trying to get in and get out. But she hyped it up. I forget her name, but she really intrigued me with her presentation about learning more beyond just the undergraduate level and telling me. I think what really stuck with me is that this getting a PhD will get you into doors that you normally can't get in
Mhm.
without it
Mhm.
because of who you are. And it's kind of good, it's kind of bad. But
Yeah.
I think the reality of it is that if you think about like I'm on boards for startups, I'm on boards for at the Pentagon. I've also been able to work at one of the top AI companies in the world
Y'all, she
and
said the
excel at it.
Pentagon.
Right. She
Okay.
just threw that out there like she
Let
said
me just
Burger
I just
King.
adjust my
Like,
seat
she
real
was
quick.
that's not on the
she threw it
list.
out there
That's
like
not
it
on
was
the
Burger
Yeah, that's
King.
not
I
even
just
on
want y'all to
the
know.
list. That's
That's
true.
new. That's new right there. But
Okay.
I just think that had I not have gone to that get that advanced degree, which I went to Georgia Tech, I don't think I would be where I am today. So
Mm.
and I think also it's more so less about me proving myself to them, but me about understanding who I am and how much I can take,
Mm,
and who I am and what I'm capable of.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of what it was all about.
this is an excellent place
Whew.
to
I
write notes.
whew, okay.
All right, we're going to have a break. Oh, no, I am actual Southern. My mother and my grandmother and my dad are from North Carolina, okay? That's North Carolina. My grandma made North Kakalaki. My grandma's so Southern, y'all don't understand. The icebox and the Frigidaire. She's so Southern. Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. No, in the DC area, but my dad is from DC. That's the only reason my mom moved there. If she had not. Wait. You didn't say where are we gonna
We
pick
just
up?
gonna keep talking. It's
Okay, we're gonna
fine.
keep
We're
talking.
good. We're
Alright.
flowing. Stuff is
I'm good.
happening, you
Just
know?
waiting on my Uber Eats.
You were
Yeah.
hilarious.
I still don't know what I'm about to
Okay.
eat. Anyways.
So we're in grad school. You
Well,
had this
no,
really
like
no, not in, sorry. You had this awesome Let me start over. Allison, I'm sorry. Edit all that out, please, Allison. So during this bridge program, you had this really awesome speaker, and it seems like they were like setting you all up to be on the path towards graduate school. So you applied to lots of places, I imagine.
Funny enough,
mm,
remember I wanted to go to Georgia Tech for
Right.
undergrad, right?
Mhm.
So really the only place I applied was Georgia Tech.
that's amazing.
Wow.
This is not. I don't recommend this.
Do not follow this
I
advice.
just I just knew, hey, this was Georgia Tech was supposed to be somewhere on my path, right? And so I said, okay, God, if I get in here, great. If not, then hey, I won't go. And
Mm.
this is really the only place I want to go. And so I applied. I actually uh, took the GRE, and I remember I almost got a perfect score in the math.
What?
I think I missed one question.
Wow.
But now English is a whole nother. We're not gonna talk about the English.
Yeah, they don't look at that part.
we're not gonna talk about that.
It's okay.
That's less than stellar. Okay. But the math part, because what
Mathlete.
I told that, hey, you need to focus on the math. So that's what
Yep.
I did.
Yep.
I was actually an intern, my internship at IBM while I was studying for it, and I studied for it and I took it, and I was like, okay, great, and I got in, and so that's where I went, and I felt like at that point I'd interned at several places. I actually had the gym fellowship.
Okay,
Shout out to
Jim.
Jim. Yeah, Jim paid for like my first couple years at Georgia Tech, and I got a waiver. People don't tell you that sometimes it's just a matter of getting to know the people in the administration office,
Mhm.
and they
Mhm.
will give you the waiver. They will give you the tuition waiver, whatever you need.
Yep.
If you just kind of get to know them, they'll give you access to all these scholarships, all this funding. And that was my situation. I wasn't the type that from the jump, I had like everything paid for, didn't have to worry
Mhm.
about everything. I
Mhm.
had to like figure things out.
Mm.
And so gym was kind of the first thing that kicked that off. And I basically pleaded for a tuition waiver. And they gave it to me.
Wow.
Shout out
And
to Jim, friend of the
yeah,
podcast.
Yes.
shout out. And so I had interned, I think Indiana, Kokomo, Indiana at Delphi. They used to make the Bluetooth radios and the GPSs.
Mhm.
Um,
Oh, yeah.
and at that time was right during the recession,
Mhm.
2008, I believe. Yeah,
Wow. Yep.
2008. And so when I started my internship, so I actually with Jim, you have to intern and then go to school, intern and go to school.
Mhm.
And so I asked him, could I combine it into one big long internship so that I wanted to, keep going back and forth.
That's cool.
And so yeah, I know it's just like just remember everything is negotiable.
Everything. Yes.
Everything. So if it's something that you want to request, don't be afraid to ask. I mean, the worst they can do is say
I'm just
no.
gonna pick that up and
Mhm.
put it in my pocket.
That's a
There you go.
soundbite.
Save it
Thank
for
you.
later. Mhm.
Yes, and they agreed, and because they said, "Yeah, it's great to have you continuously work on a project for a longer period of time, then they have you kind of come back and break
Mhm.
it up.
Mhm.
And so I was up there. It was actually Kokomo, Indiana, and I was there for like almost that whole year,
Wow.
2008. This was during the
Wow.
recession. So when
It
I
was not looking
started,
good.
yeah, when I started, there were like I think there were like 10 people on my team. By the time I left, right before like July, August, I think it was down to like three.
Wow.
People had been laid off. People were switched over to different teams, different offices,
Yeah.
and I was like, "Wow, God knew like this is." I'm getting ready to go to grad
Yeah,
school.
'cause you would have
Mhm.
been in that
Thought have
Exactly.
been
environment,
enough. Yeah.
in that work environment.
So,
So don't chase the money, y'all.
right, right.
Mhm.
It's a higher purpose
Yeah.
out there. Um, and then I knew too that the North wasn't for me because the snow, the 20 inches of snow
Oh,
and the
yeah.
I
and
mean, it gets
snowing in.
cold in Mississippi.
It don't snow like that.
Not like that.
Let me come
She's
closer to the
really
camera.
very close to the camera right now.
Listen,
Okay, I'm s wait,
it's
wait, wait.
never like that.
I'm saying this as a Floridian, okay? So you have to keep that in mind. I grew up in
Okay,
Orlando. I might as
okay.
well
I
have
got
grown up
you.
on an island,
Right.
okay?
Might as well
I
have said
got you.
Bahamas.
I got you. And I'm happy to say I'm going to Jamaica on vacation next month.
Yes.
So I will get to experience all these wonderful
Mhm.
island things that people talk about. But yes, so I knew that the South was for me,
Mhm.
and so and that's where my family was. And so Georgia Tech was really the only place I applied, and I got in, and I was able to get a funding situation that I kind of crafted together, and the rest is history.
Wow. Wow. So what did you work on at Georgia
Yeah.
Tech? Like, what was your research area?
So I again like
Uh-oh.
I love to tell people about like how unique my situation was. It wasn't like I got into a assistantship. They call them graduate research
Mhm.
assistantships or teaching assistantships, and then they put me on a path to do research.
Right.
I had to figure out what I
Mm.
was going to do, right?
Yes.
And I know me, and I know that I can't just get up and go to work and do work if I'm not passionate about it
Mhm.
and if I don't believe in what I'm doing. And so I kind of came up with something that I said I knew I love music, and I knew that at the time, machine learning was kind of at that time it was just digital signal processing,
Mhm.
to be honest. So that was before all the buzzwords came out, but and I knew that Georgia Tech was the top thing for that. And so I needed to figure out a way to combine those two things.
Mm.
And so my research was basically in finding a way to use different types of frequency analysis. So this is digital signal processing to figure out attributes in music so that you can separate the different sounds, the different sources of sound in music or in someone talking in
Oh,
conversations.
that's cool.
So they called it source separation.
Mhm.
So that was what my whole thesis was about, and figuring out a different way to look at the frequencies so you could separate either the different parts in the music or the different conversations that are going on in a room.
And
Mm.
So naturally, oh, go
I
ahead.
was gonna say, FYI, for those of you who aren't familiar with this area, this is an extremely difficult problem. Like, she's explaining it
It's
like it's like, "Oh, yeah, we just extract some frequencies and we
Yeah.
get the sources, and this is
She's
the
explaining
scale."
it in a way that Jeremy can understand. That's what
No, but she's explaining it like it's simple. Like, this is and it's in time. Like, time
mhm.
is the component that makes this thing so difficult. But sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, so it's funny because I really this was around the time Garage Band,
Mhm.
the game came out,
Mhm.
and I was like, man, this would be so cool if I could do this like in my research. My research.
Oh,
I really just wanted to
yeah.
play Garage
That's what
Band. That's what
inspired you? That's
that's
so cool.
and so that's I
No,
figured
Rock
out a
Band.
way. Yes,
Is it
Rock
Rock
Band too.
Band?
Yes,
Guitar
Rock
Hero?
Band. There was then there was a Michael Jackson game that came
Yes.
out on the Wii.
Oh my
It was like
gosh.
The
I was all about the
Wii.
Wii back
You
then.
can't
Like
tell me nothing. But yeah, the whole separation and like
yes, the source separation. It's an area of research, and
mhm.
so during this time, this was
Can I just
before
ask,
people
like, what
were.
your favorite song was on Rock Band before you go into play? Like, do you
Oh
remember?
man, oh boy.
Do you
Calif. Let's see. California,
Mine was Black Hole
California.
Sun.
Okay, okay. They had some interesting songs on there.
Yeah,
Yeah, they're
I
not
want to
our.
say California
it's not
Dreaming or
our
something. Yeah,
song.
they weren't
Yeah.
really.
They had this
Yeah.
one song by Maps called "Wait." That's the one that was our favorite because it had a singer and all that. It's like, "Wait."
Okay. Okay.
But yeah,
Okay.
they weren't none of our songs, but I hear it sometimes in the grocery store, and I'm like, "Okay, I know that song." Yep.
I think it was the Joker song or something. See, I'm a
Mm.
Joker and I'm a something and I'm a something and I'm something.
Okay.
Something, something, something,
Not I'm
something.
something.
I don't know.
Something I'm
I don't remember the words.
something.
But anyway, I was a musician, and so I was like, yo, it's gotta be tied to music somehow.
Mhm.
Little did I know that that area of research would grow into machine learning, and those same techniques can be applied to speech, music, video, pictures,
Mhm.
image recognition, and then people started training models. So and this was like I'm seeing this all unfold in front of me,
Mhm.
while I'm in grad school. And I'm like, oh, so I guess this is AI now. It's like
Mhm.
this is kind of developed right in front of me, and these same skills that I worked at before it was called this, it's the same technology that can be applied to many different signals. You just have different dimensions of signals, right? And so, you think about sound is two dimensional, images are three dimensional. When you train models, it's multi-dimensional. It could be hundreds, millions of dimensions, right?
Right.
And so that's how you get the more granularity to separate these different classes of objects that you're trying to recognize.
Yeah, and then you're deciding which features are the most important. So
Mhm.
Yep.
it's a yeah, it's a lot. She's explaining it so simply, and I'm like, "You're acting like this ain't difficult."
I try to,
I love it.
people
I
can
love it.
understand.
I
So
love it. Thank you for caring about me. Kyla, this is your research area.
It
Get
is.
out of
He is
here.
on my street and walking into my house right now.
Mm.
yeah, I heard you talking about the ear earlier. Well, I had
Yeah.
to like learn in my dissertation. There's a slide on the ear, how the ear
Mhm.
works, and how the humans we naturally separate sound.
Yep.
But how do you get an algorithm to do that?
Right.
That knows nothing about the sources,
Which, by the
right?
way, like people think AI functions just like we do.
Right.
It
It's
doesn't.
artificial,
Right.
Right.
literally.
Artificial, meaning someone has to tell it. Like for us, we have a little bit of evolution working for us. You have your eyes that are telling you, oh, this type of sound is coming from that direction. This type of sound, okay, I
Yep.
learned to separate it. But your mind doesn't do all those words at the
Right,
same time,
right,
Right.
As you're
Yeah.
like as you're a baby, you're learning these things and you're training. So you need to train the algorithm the same
Yes.
way
It's
you were trained
training.
as a
That's it.
baby.
That's right.
exactly.
Yeah.
See, this is why. See, I've never talked this much about my dissertation. Like, nobody cares
Oh,
We
no,
care.
about
I
my
care.
dissertation.
No, I looked up I was like, "Wait, she does? I do?"
She got so hyped when she
Yeah,
read
I looked up your
bio
advisor.
about
I'm
you.
like, "I'm about to invite him to come do a talk."
Yeah.
I
Y'all about to
appreciate
be best friends for real
Oh,
after
yes.
this.
Oh, yes.
I appreciate everything y'all are doing. So yeah.
Well, we appreciate you because I mean,
Absolutely.
after you graduated from school, you just went on a war path, like blazing trails and showing people exactly who you are and what you're capable of and like being unapologetic for it. And we love it. We
Yeah.
love it.
Thank you.
We
Thank
met
you.
at a conference.
Hmm.
Correct. Grace
Um,
Hopper.
Grace Hopper,
Yes.
Celebration for Women in Computing.
Shout
Uh,
out to Anita Board.
Yes.
yeah.
That'll work.
And
Nativeboard.org. Yes.
let me just say, like, it was serendipity or it was God,
Hmm.
right? Like we just decided we were gonna go to this Google party
Mhm.
and it was like everybody was going to the Google party. And then like we get in there and suddenly blackness just took over. Like we were coming left, right, front, back. Everybody
Right.
just found this corner.
And
It
we
was the Black
decided to
Women in
migrate
Tech
to each other. It was like a
conference.
magnet.
Yeah, it was like the work
I don't know
the
how that
mixer for.
happened. It was amazing. And like we just sat down and we decided we were gonna color.
Yeah.
And that was it. Like that was it.
We
That
colored,
was
we
it.
talked, we decompressed,
We learned
girl,
about
ate.
life.
We ate.
We took pictures,
We
Yeah.
took pictures.
you
We do
know?
have pictures from that event, and, like, I from time to time in the scrolling adventures through my phone, find it, and, like, there's some selfies of a girl who I don't remember at all.
What?
Beautiful black queen, don't know her name.
Oh,
But then
Lord.
there's, like, the all the rest of us, and it's you and Amber and who else is in that photo? Stephanie
Oh, man.
Lampkin,
Yep. Yep.
Yeah,
Wanda
Jessica,
Eugene,
Mhm.
uh
Another person who's
Jerusalem, I think it's a lot of yeah, it's a lot of folks.
yeah, there are a lot of folks, but it's
we're
so
just
crazy how, like
You know how oh, go
I'll
ahead.
say it's so crazy how all our paths just intersect and, like, we have such a shared common experience.
Mhm. You know how, like, all the movie stars know each other?
Oh, yeah.
That's
Yeah!
how I feel like we're movie stars,
Yes,
and,
we are computer
you
science
know,
movies.
the black women the black women tech computing circuit is such a
Family.
small,
Mhm.
like, sorority, like, it doesn't matter. Like, I really missed the conferences
Yeah,
this
me
past year,
too.
not
Me
because
too.
I didn't get a chance to go, because I didn't get a chance to see people like y'all.
Yeah.
Likewise,
So
likewise, 'cause I feel like, even, like, with some of the conferences, it just feels like a breath of fresh air. I call some of them chicken noodle soup for the Black woman's soul, like, it's just so and I can't even put to words why these spaces are needed, but I definitely echo your sentiments, like, I'm missing these gatherings and
mhm,
these times to talk to each other.
mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Let's pause here
Yes, let's
and
pause here. I didn't mean to bring it So after this magnificent graduate school experience, you you moved to sorry, let's stop for a second again. I ended on I miss us doing conferences. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, so that doesn't segue well.
Okay.
Um,
It's very true though.
yeah.
Well,
Sarcastic,
like we
magnificent.
could you
Sorry,
could say
Allison.
like, so were you living in New York at this point when yeah, like
Yeah.
something like that?
I know the answer though, but sure.
The answer is no, then
Right, the answer
say
is no.
let's talk about it.
Yeah. So when we're meeting up at conferences and stuff, I'm not sure how close after your graduation this was. Like, how close after graduation were you? Were you living in New York? Where was your trajectory?
Yeah, so I left Georgia Tech when I graduated, going to New York City. Um, at the time, again, I don't really apply for a lot of things. I just kind of apply for the one that I really want. If it doesn't work, then I don't know what I'm gonna do. But
You heard what
I
she said
applied
about
for
them ordered steps. The steps are ordered.
the
Mhm.
steps are ordered. Believe
Right.
it, steps are ordered. So I went to New York. I got the job. I remember talking to some of my friends, and they say, "Yeah, go for it. I mean, this is the time of your life where, don't worry about, I might want to move to the South, and it's going to be cold. Like this is time to experience things, right?
Mhm.
So keep that in mind. Like, 'cause once you start, the older you get, the more involved you get with family, etc. It gets harder, and so just take the opportunity.
Amen. Mhm.
She know, y'all. She know. So I did. I took the opportunity and went to New York. I was there for about a year, working for Exponent, which is a consulting firm. And I was we worked a lot with litigation cases and doing
Mm.
expert witnessing and expert testimonies for, big high profile cases where large corporations were basically suing each other for various
Mhm.
things. And so very, very interesting experience. I got a chance to work on a lot of interesting cases and do a lot of investigative type work and just provide my expertise in those arenas. And I remember getting the call from Jewel Burke Solomon. Shout out to Jewel. She says
Ooh,
that, hey, I raised the money with the prototype that you helped us build. And I'm
wow.
like, because I've been keeping in touch every now and then, and I'm like, y'all doing good. This is a company called
Can
Park
I
Fit.
pause for a minute?
Right.
Go ahead, go ahead.
Say
Do
it.
y'all know who she is?
Right. Say that.
Do y'all know who Jewel Burks Solomon is? I
Correct.
hope please,
Correct.
please look this amazing woman up.
Imma
Okay?
put a
Like
link to her
we're
too. I got it in the notes, so put a link
the
to her too.
fact the fact that you are just casually dropping that off, like,
By the by.
y'all besties, like, it's cool, it's whatever. Like, I don't even know who I'm talking to right now.
Right.
Nashlie, like
Right.
It was a very special bond at the time. I remember being introduced to Jewel when I was still at grad school,
Mhm.
and I was like, she said, "Hey, I'm trying to build this thing that you can recognize parts in images and be able to measure the part and be able to say, hey, this is where you should go buy the part, like screws, nuts, bolts, washers, that sort of thing."
Mm,
And so I was like, oh, well, that, I can do that. That's my research, image recognition, this whole machine learning thing is kicking off. We can train models to recognize parts and can use image processing or computer vision, as they now call it, to
Mhm.
use a size reference to get the measurements of the part. And now, actually, you don't even need a size reference. You can pretty much use these APIs that are already built into, at least this software is already built into the phones nowadays
Mhm.
to measure things when you point your camera at it. And so I was able to put that together and build this prototype. I remember when I graduated, she hadn't quite raised the money. So I said, look, I've been a poor grad student. Y'all know what I mean, like
How did y'all
20K.
even meet? Like, how did you even meet? You're just like, "Oh, when
someone
I got."
introduce them.
That is
So,
so
we had a
crazy.
mutual friend introduce us.
Oh, that's so
Troy,
great.
actually, Dr. Troy Nunley. Shout out to
Mhm.
Troy. Went to Georgia Tech as well. And so, and him and his brother Travis Nunley, they're twins. They introduced us, and so I was able to build some of the the models that originally went into their prototype.
Mhm.
For those who don't know, like when you're a startup company and you're trying to convince people to invest in your company, for people who look like us, it helps to have a working prototype.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Just an idea is like it's cheap, even though that doesn't work for the other people. That works for them, but a
Right.
lot of times it doesn't work for us. And so I was very happy to be able to contribute to that prototype to say, hey, we can do this. Like this is a
Mhm.
real thing.
Mhm.
And by taking that into the room and saying, hey, here's the app, play with it, try to break it. We stand by what we do. We know what we're doing, and that in turn led to her raising I think $1.5 million,
Wow.
which at that time, this was like
That's a
2013,
lot.
2014.
Yeah.
That's more money I've ever seen in my life.
Right.
Right.
So like, oh snap, okay, that's I was able to help with that. Okay, cool. And so when she gave me that call, it was right before a big conference called South by Southwest.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And so she said, hey, we got the money raised and I want you to be our CTO. So I put in my 2 weeks notice. I think my boss, it was like in the middle of like the worst winter ever in New York City. Like the subways had shut down. And
Oh,
so
wow.
I think I was very happy to put in that 2 weeks notice. And I remember him laughing at me like, I told him what I was gonna do. It's like he's laughing at me like, I hope you get rich. And I'm just like, what?
Guess what I did?
What? Yeah, like, I hope he's,
Wow.
sees all the headlines and all the
Yes.
articles and everything,
We will send
you
him
know,
this link. If you
we
give
gonna
us
see
his
this stuff.
name anonymously, we will send him the link to this
It,
episode.
and it just really goes to, just how unique, maybe how crazy this whole career path has been. Like I never imagined being, in this place, selling a company to Amazon. 'Cause that's what we ended up doing.
Mhm.
Wow.
Um, but just like, I'm just trying to do what I'm supposed to do and be the best at it. And
Mhm.
you'll see how far that will take you, you know.
Yeah.
Okay, so the company gets sold to Amazon, for a sum, and then
For an undisclosed amount.
undisclosed sum.
I tell
Right.
people, I say I'm able to like, purchase a lot of property, build this whole tech hub in Jackson, keep
Mhm.
the Bean Path nonprofit rolling. But I'm still working.
Right.
So so hopefully I give you in a sense of what the amount is. We can't tell you the amount, but
Right,
hopefully give
right,
you some
right.
sense of what the amount is.
Enough.
Yeah, this is
Mhm.
enough. It's enough. Yeah. So
So, currently, your role is completely different, though, from what the company that Amazon purchased. So how did you transition into your current role from with Part Pick?
yeah, so I always wanted to go back home to Jackson, Mississippi, and really Mississippi as a whole. Majority of the state is under the poverty line, even today.
Mhm.
We have a big problem in what we call brain drain,
Mhm,
Mhm.
where people leave the state. They get educated in the state, but they leave the state because they can get better opportunities outside of the state than they can get in the state. And I just wanted to be a part of, how can we solve this problem? I hate to think that the place where I grew up, the place that made me, and I'm able to contribute to so many things out here in the tech and STEM industry. How many more people are like me are there back at home? And
mhm,
maybe we
Mhm.
can empower them, give them the opportunities, and help them see that hey, there's a different route you can take. I want to be a part of that solution, and so that's how I went back in 2018. I started. We sold the company in 2016. It took a while to kind of get acclimated. And then I went back in 2018 and said, hey, I want to start this nonprofit called the Bean Path. And we do free tech help. We used to meet up at the local libraries with tech experts of all different areas and STEM experts, and be able to talk to people who need help
Mhm.
starting their business, who need help coming up with a new idea, if it's feasible or not. How do you create a technical roadmap? How do you know if people are charging you too much money for software development, etc. Um, grandmas out there, the sisters at the church,
mhm.
want to set up a website or a
Yeah,
social media page for the Sunday school class.
mhm,
How do they go about doing that? We want to be the tech experts that people can come to in the community as a safe space, with no intimidation. We're not going to shame you. We're going to just help you get to where you need to be. And so that's where the Bean path came from. So most people don't know that Bean is actually a computer programming term. It's like a part of something. It's a small part of something that can grow into something bigger. And so a bean, of course, we think of bean. Most people think of bean as a seed.
Mm-hmm.
Most people don't know if you drop a black eyed pea or a lima bean into the ground and you fertilize it, give it enough nutrients, it's going to grow into something much bigger. It's going to grow into a vine. It's going to produce more fruit that can produce other fruit. And so we like to think of the bean path as a place where you can come and find out, cultivate the sprout and determine your route. That's our motto.
I love
Ooh.
that.
Oh
Boy,
yeah, yeah. I was rapping,
boy.
the rhymes. I got bars. No, I'm
I
kidding.
could feel it, and it was probably in a room with Amber.
Yes.
Yeah, Amber was
I'm just
definitely in
gonna
the
say that.
mix. She definitely was in the mix. And so I think it's really important to show people that you don't have to look a certain way. You don't have to make a certain amount of money. You could be a part of this whole STEM game too to help you get to wherever it is you're trying to go.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. So is the mission still the same? Like, because I looked this up, it says the mission is to sow technical expertise to grow networks and fertilize community.
Yes,
Pay. So
yes.
it's like all
It,
there.
It's all
it's
there.
all it's all in there, and the big connection to kind of like gardening and farming.
Mhm.
Mississippi is a huge agriculture state. That's the
Mhm.
majority of a lot of the income that comes into the state, except for in the urban areas. But
Mhm.
I think that it's very important to understand that this technology, STEM, is not meant to change us. It's just meant to enhance our everyday lives.
Yes.
Mhm.
So if that's agriculture, if that's journalism, if you're in the medical field, we just want to show you, hey, we can make your life a little bit easier by using these tech tools. That's what we do through the Bean Path. That was the initial intent of the mission, to bridge the tech gap in Mississippi, starting with the capital city, Jackson, Mississippi, and the greater Jackson area.
Mhm.
But I think that it's important to understand, how we meet the community where they are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I came in there, and I often say, like, sometimes, if I were setting up shop